Hey, hello. How's everybody tonight? I just want to start off by thanking my moderators. I know they're going to be helping me with a sound check at this moment. So I'll start off with just the sound check. So just let me know how I'm sounding. I got two of the best ones here right now. B. Wayne and CDT. Thanks for being here, mods. And everyone else, thank you for being here. If I don't address you personally, I'm just focused on my notes and all that. So I do appreciate everyone being here and I do see you guys. So thank you so much for being here. Oh, wow. We got Louisiana, Missouri, Tennessee here. Okay. So I've been told that the sound is good. Thank you, B. Wayne. So I'm just curious how many in chat have seen the interview room with Chris interviewing Don when he was on the phone. Oh, wow. We got Texas, Canada, North Carolina here, Indiana. That's so cool. That's why I love the internet and social media. Alabama. Okay, so it seems like people have seen it. Um, Hi, Nikki Rex. So yeah, people have even watched it more than once. Me too. Just little clips. But so that's kind of where I'm kind of going with tonight. There will be discussions, of course, about everything else in the case, but I'm just kind of overwhelmed with that interview with Don and everything that was said in it. And I've just been going round and round with things in my head about it. And I was just hoping to come on here and talk to you guys. And I'm just so happy that you guys are all here to talk to me because I love talking about this type of stuff with CDT. And, this is just, there's a lot of moving parts in this case. And I guess we should just start off with this is still an active Amber Alert. Um, she was last seen on June 15th. She is 5 years old, 3 feet tall, and when she was missing, she was 40 pounds, blonde hair and blue eyes. And she was wearing a pink top with gray pants. So we also are looking for that Toyota Tacoma, which I guess was an older model around 98 to 2000, they were figuring. It is not a or it is not a suspect. I'm sorry. It is a witness, and they are still looking for the driver. And a lot of people have speculated if it's, just a something to refocus everyone's attention to kind of take heat off of other things that they're really looking at, and other people think that it actually is like a legitimate something that they want answers on. So I don't know what to think about the truck, but they say that they're still looking for the driver. So there was a little bit of misinformation about the truck, saying that they didn't need it, but oh, okay. I'm just reading the comment on the screen. Yeah, so that's interesting. So they're saying that it would take minutes to narrow down the maroon Tacoma, um, because of databases that they have. And yeah, that's the thing is people have wondered um, if it's just something to kind of distract everyone, or it's just hard to explain. It could be tactic, possibly. Hello, Echo Paint and Tea. Echo Painter and Tea. Hi, Donna. So Oh, hey, Karen. So glad you're here. I know this was kind of a random live, but there's just a lot going on. So let's just see where I can start with my notes. I did make a video about some of the shocking um, clips that I thought were like the top three most shocking, but there was so much more that I just didn't include it in that video. But I'm sure everyone has already been heard the other ones. One of them was Don claimed that the text messages and everything on their phones, the grandmother's, and Candace, when they got them back from law enforcement, everything past 3:30 p.m. was deleted. So there's no logs in their phones. And he mentioned it as if to like, you know, people are saying that he's trying to blame it on TBI. I don't know what to make of what he was saying about it, but I highly doubt TBI is deleting stuff on his phone or other people's phones. So that would lead you to think who would have deleted it and why. Um, there is a huge discrepancy in the time of the 911 call. Like, we need to hear that 911 call. Both of them apparently called. So if we could get more information on that, that would really help this timeline. It just seems like a lot of time gaps. He basically, like I was saying before, insinuates that TBI can't be trusted. Like, that he was like wondering why, when they got their phones back, stuff was deleted on it. Like, I don't know what kind of narrative he's trying to play, but some people feel that he's trying to push like some sort of conspiracy going on and distrust in law enforcement, which I think is strange. Um, I have written down something about pushing the grandma during the altercation with Jose. And I'm just curious if you guys found it interesting when he said that Candace's mother never liked him. And I think he used hated. I think he said she's hated me for a while. She never liked me. And then basically said that, you know, she just thought that he was never good enough for her daughter, which is interesting because I don't know, it's just like unraveling the dynamics, I guess. Like, grandmother being there that day has already been kind of an eyebrow raiser because none of us has really. She's made one statement weeks and weeks ago, and it was basically pleading for Summer's return. And then, like, nothing. She leaves the state to take care of a family member, and she's got a doctor's appointment coming up. Um, so it's interesting now that we know that they've never gotten along. She's always hated him, apparently. So, did anyone else feel that he was saying, like, did he push the grandmother in that October altercation with Jose at the house? Hey, Brooks, thank you for being here. I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah, he did say now all of a sudden they're getting along, but um, they said that, or he said that she was the reason why he got arrested in October, which was less than a year ago. So let's keep that in mind. It hasn't even been a year. Um, oh, what was uncomfortable, CDT? I want to go back up and see. What hit me the wrong way was when Chris asked what should happen to the person. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wrote that down too. Yeah, Nicole and CDT. I agree. That was so weird. Like, I remember during the interrogation, I can't remember if it was Agent Tammy or Coder, but Chris Watts, just if anyone knows that case, he was asked the same thing. Like, whoever took your girls, what do you think should happen to them? And he said, immediately, like, they should pay, like, they need to pay for their crime. So it was just so weird when Chris asked Don a similar type of question. What do you think should happen? And he was just like, couldn't even answer it. Like, you know, he wouldn't want to wish prison on somebody or something along the lines of knowing how bad it is. So he would never say that that's what they deserve. It's just so weird because it's like, but if they took your daughter, don't you think that they should pay? It's just very backwards, I thought. Like, I didn't know what to think of that response because it seems like a common question that law enforcement asks somebody that they're interviewing or interrogating. What do you think should happen to the person who committed this crime against, their loved one or whoever? So it's just interesting. I wonder what the psychology behind that is. Like, what do they think about responses that aren't demanding punishment, basically? Like Don's response, like he couldn't say that he wanted punishment for these people, but it kind of goes against his beliefs as far as, I don't know, I don't want to call out his faith, but I mean, people who are wicked, I mean, it's just they should pay, you know what I mean? Like they need to pay for their sins or you know, atone for them. So it was strange that Don didn't even say, like, as a Christian, I don't want to punish them or I would forgive them, but they need to be, eye for an eye or something like that. You know what I mean? It was just kind of weird. Um, so what else do I have on my list? So wait, I'm sorry. I never got a clear answer from anybody in chat, or maybe I did and I didn't see. Did he push grandmother in that altercation the night in October with Jose? Like, I just want to know if he got physical with anybody because I think I was misunderstanding. I thought he pushed Candace down the stairs, and then I hear him say something about the grandmother. So I'm just really wondering what you guys know about that. Okay, he said he did KK and E. Yes, he admitted to it. Yes. Okay, so he's okay. Here's the thing. He has admitted to a temper. He's gotten physical with a senior citizen. I mean, let's call it for what it is. A woman as well. So, I mean, another thing I forgot to mention in the beginning was everyone, you know, I strongly believe people are innocent until proven guilty. However, this case is huge. It's been speculated about, it's been going around. I try to keep to the facts, but part of the facts is people's background. And, you know, it it can be used against you, unfortunately. So the fact that they've done wrong in their life and then something tragic like this happens, unfortunately now all the mistakes you've made kind of does get brought up, because we have to narrow down the culprit, the suspect. So unfortunately, if he's innocent, unfortunately Don's past has raised some eyebrows. And if we're going to look at this from a way that law enforcement would, that would obviously be something that they would pull up on the whiteboard and be like, okay, so this is the father of the child who's missing, and this is what we have a rap sheet on for him, and then of course, like they've said, they went around and they talked to people who are on the SO list, and all the bad people in the area, like that, they went around and they've verified that you know they can scratch all those off their list, so it's not just Don who's under the radar for his past. They've gone through the community and they have ways to get a hold of probation officers and all that, and they go out and they get a hold of their clients or whatever, and they kind of just they go through and they figure things out. It's not just the parents who have been under the radar. Like, there's been tips, I guess hundreds of tips, and I'm sure that they're doing what they got to do, and they're looking into everybody that they have to look into. But so, to that being said, yes, you are innocent until proven guilty. However, the choices you make in life, they do follow you. And he's in the middle of a very high profile case, unfortunately. So, Candace has been under scrutiny. Um, the grandmother, who we've barely even heard of, is under scrutiny. So it's just unfortunately the way that it's going to go. When you look into an investigation, that's just what they do. Um, so there was something else that I had written down about him thinking that, because Chris would be like, "Well, where are you getting this theory from? Or what came to that conclusion?" When he says things like, "I got to the house and I just, I got home from work and I just knew something was wrong. I knew that she was gone. I just knew she was gone." He kept saying that, "I knew she was gone. Like I showed up and I just knew it." And then Chris, of course, um, doing what he's got to do, says, "Why would you think that though? Like he's just interviewing him, you know." And Don is not being forced to give up any of this information. He's freely giving it up. So he, asked him like, "What led you to that belief?" And it was just like he couldn't like give like an answer of why when he showed up at home he thought that she was gone or he was convinced that she was gone. I thought that was weird. Like, why were you so convinced? So that to me was interesting. And then the same thing when he's bringing up other people, like when they're talking about H and his mother Allie and the disgruntled coworker that he had to fire. That apparently he fired him the day before Summer went missing. Is that correct as well? So he's talking about these other people who have said bad things about him or who could possibly be the suspect. And every time that Chris was like, "Yeah, but why do you think that they would do that?" Or, like, what would be the motive? Why would they take your child? He just had some like story like, "Oh, they would do anything to get back at me. He would do anything to hurt me." Um, so I was just thinking paranoid beliefs that several people want revenge on him. Um, I just was like, what is going on? Yes, CDT, he shifts the blame for sure. Like he's trying to come up. Okay, and here's the thing, speculation. If he's guilty, is he trying to come up with different avenues for us to kind of believe in, like shifting the blame to emphasize the coworker issue. Did you notice how long he went on about the drama with the coworker? Like the second time I listened through, I kind of like fast forward a little bit because I was like, okay, we get it. Like you didn't like this guy and he was doing a bad job and he got mud everywhere. Like it was just like unnecessary details about stupid drama like from work, and I'm just like, I just don't see like although it has happened, people get fired and they go back to their workplace and they show the boss or whatever, that they're mad. Something terrible happens. It's happened here at a restaurant. Actually, it was like brutal. But do we think that that's what happened? Like what? I don't know. It's just that same disgruntled coworker I'm hearing is the owner of the yellow Nissan SUV that's in the video that she's dancing in the rain in. So he had the coworker who he didn't get along with at his house, who he said was on crazy hard drugs. Like, okay, he said at one point that he thought he was on something and it was worse than meth. Like, I'm sorry, but like I was trying to figure that out and I'm like, what could possibly be worse than meth? Like I was just like confused by that. And then he was saying that ugh, I just hold on, let me look at my note real quick. So he did say in that altercation with Jose that he was about to throw a beer bottle at him, and then um, instead he threw it at the wall or something like that. So the other thing that I kind of gathered, oh, Brooks, yeah, people do speculate that the father or anybody grabbed and sold her. That is a possibility. It just like Chris was saying, there are possibilities, but then we go through statistics, um, the likelihood, possibilities, those types of things. It's kind of getting like, okay, so the property, once you look at the property, everyone knows it's unique to the owners of the property, I feel. However, if that disgruntled coworker was at the property, clearly he knows the layout of the house, he knows the layout of the land, so that those are things that we can play around with. And yes, anything is possible. Um, and that's the thing. It's who was at the swim hole that day? Was there some weird creep that was watching them that they didn't notice maybe, or we just don't know about? Um, It's just, were there people following them at the store? I mean, there's all types of stories where people get followed to their car, or they're followed by another car, I mean, we just don't know because sometimes you're just not aware of what's going on around you. Um, I've been playing around with like maybe some weirdo, saw her swimming at the swim hole. You know what I mean? Like we need to know who was there all day long. And the barrel said for sale, and Don says co-worker's car is in the background. Maybe nothing, but it's noted in my mind. Yeah, it's like you say, CDT, something or nothing. Like, and that's just what we have right now. It's all these things that we kind of throw up in the air, and whatever sticks, we're gonna say, is this something or is this nothing? And we throw away the things that we don't think are likely. The dog trail, did anyone and everyone see the dog trail video that Don shared this week showing a possible path that he kind of threw the theory out there, which he has been throwing the theory out there that she's been taken. She's been taken. Hi, Cindy Surfer. So glad to see you. So the dog trail, um, did that lead towards that shed that's on their property? Like, it wasn't direct path, was it? Does anyone know? Like that shed that he pretty much said, what did he say? It was their property, okay, and that neighbors and he has seen people go there to do drugs basically. Um, so that was a little concerning when they talked about the shed. Um, and yes, if we're throwing out theories, I have for sure thought, where do they go? They go to church, if they're a regular at church, if somebody in the church is a weirdo and nobody knows, it's like, could she have been being watched for months? We don't know. And they were fairly new to that church, weren't they? Like within the year. So the thing about it is too, that shed, okay. Um, I just wonder because he was just talking about how, and this is the other thing, and it's almost playing into shifting the blame, like we were talking about earlier. Um, Throwing out the theory of the dog trail, somebody could have easily gone up there. Um, Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it, and you always leave good comments under my videos, and I really appreciate it, Nicole. Thank you so much. Um, so the shed, that's the thing though. To me, it's alarming. He knew that people dropped by there to pick up their meth and other drugs. Remember he was saying it? he was talking about it, and Chris said, "So it's a drug corridor." Okay, so a corridor, like, so, and he agreed to it. He said, "Yes." So you knowingly know that some sketchy people are picking up drugs or doing drugs there, and it's on your property because he said that they own that shed. Like, why would you leave it up? Why would you leave the shed standing? To me, that was like a red flag. Um, to admit and say that neighbors know about it too, so it's like a known thing. It's a known problem. Um, why do you leave it standing? What is the point? And then he gets home from work and he goes straight to the shed. And he said, "Well, everyone was at the house, so I didn't think anybody was there looking there." Okay. Um, that's great. That's good. Go to a place that, other people aren't looking. Good. However, then he says that he doesn't remember if he went in the shed or not. So, how do you try to explain the reason why you went there first, as other people weren't looking there? They were all at the house. And then it turns into you couldn't remember if you had gone in the shed or not. That whole part was very wishy-washy for me. He remembers so much. Like, from the beginning, all his statements have kind of stayed consistent. He was at work. He got a phone call from Candace. He told her to call 911. He called 911. He rushed home. He made it home before the cops. I mean, it's all been kind of like the same thing over and over. And it's been, on point. He hasn't really hesitated. And then all of a sudden, he's asked if he went in the shed and he can't remember. And then says he went in it, but he can't remember if it was then or later. So the yellow Nissan Xterra was in the background of the video where Summer is playing in the rain, was the disgruntled coworker for sure. Okay. That's what I don't get. So, like, why are you hanging out? And you know what? Fine. That if that's a tip, I'm certain the cops have looked into this guy. Certain. And nothing's happened. If they felt something was suspicious, something would have happened by now. There would be an arrest. Hi, Island Girl. Hi, Amby. Okay. Well, yeah, and that's what I was trying to get at earlier. Is people have put Candace under the microscope and magnifying glass because she did the interview first. So now Don did the interview. So I mean, that's just what happens. We get new information from somebody in the case, and then we kind of scrutinize it. I mean, we're just reviewing and evaluating their statements. And since we're on that topic, as far as Chris from the interview room, his false confession that he coerced from a minor, I know that Don highlighted that this week. And again, he highlighted that after the essay accusations, which he confirmed was true, came out against him with his stepsister, who was much younger than he was at the time, and he was around 12. Allegedly, she was 4 or 5. Okay, so I don't care really so much that Chris from the interview room had a false confession from a minor. Like, is it alarming? Yeah, I mean, doesn't look good. In fact, that's something that CDT and I have gone over time and time again, like the interrogation methods and the read technique and how you shouldn't use it and how it's outdated. So I'm curious if that false confession came with the read technique. But besides the point is Don highlighting that to me looked more like he was just trying to discredit Chris. Um, and I I think that it doesn't look good, obviously. Um, but I'm sure that Chris has done a lot in his career that has looked great. Nobody's perfect. The thing about it is I'm not concerned about Chris having that false confession under his belt because he's not interrogating Don. He's not working the case with Don. He's not a detective on the case. He's just a YouTuber. So I know that people have been kind of saying that, getting all on Chris's whatever about it. But in my opinion, I just don't think it really matters what happened in Chris's past because he's not forcing Don to say anything. Don is offering up all this stuff himself. And, you know, so I'm not worried about the whole he can has something in his past that doesn't look good. We all do, and that's just the way it is. He's not working the case. If Chris was working the case on a professional level, I'd be a little concerned because of that past. Moving on. Okay, Nicole, CDT. So, question: has it ever been confirmed by law enforcement that Don's partial alibi of being at work when he got the call is confirmed? Not that I know of, no. And CDT has responded with law enforcement hasn't publicly confirmed Don was at work that I've heard. Right. Yeah, there's nothing that is saying that uh, it's truth, 100% that he was at work. So we just don't know. Hi, Freudian slip. Yeah, I didn't watch the video. She said, I'm disgusted in the false confession video. Yeah, obviously, that whole concept, not good. Not good to get a false confession, especially from a minor. But in this case, I don't think it's really relevant as far as things that Don's like. They're trying to say, like, oh, Chris is throwing Don under the bus or Don's being tricked by Chris. Like, no, Don is offering everything up himself. No one's forcing him to do anything. Hi, crazy crime chick. I hope your headache's better. So, yeah, law enforcement is really keeping things kind of close to their chest, which is good. We've seen other cases where leaks from the law enforcement were going to the media, and not in this case, but for sure in the Watts case. Stuff was being leaked that shouldn't have been. So I've been seeing a lot of differences, and it's good. TBI, in my opinion, has been very good. Um, so yeah, I have crazy that he brought the meth head workmate to his house numerous times. So I don't know if this was true or if anybody else heard this, but it says Candace tells workmate Eyes Summer. Did did Don say that Candace expressed that the work person, disgruntled work coworker, was eyeing Summer? Was that something that Don said? Oh, thank you, B Wayne. I'm not looking at chat like through. There we go. Thank you. I appreciate you all. And I will say that since this case, um, there's a lot of people out there who want this girl to come home and people to answer to this crime, unless she wandered away, which I'm curious. Does anyone in chat still think that that's a possibility that she wandered off? Because the parents seem pretty adamant that that did not happen. If you think it's a possibility, press one and I'll look through chat. But so what else? Oh yeah. So when we're talking about um Don coming back from Utah, like when he talks about the Jose situation. Well, Scotty wants to know, how do we know TBI is any good if we're hearing absolutely nothing from them? Well, I'm assuming that they're keeping everything kind of under wraps, which investigations should be. Whereas in other cases, only people who were in the law enforcement realm were leaking things to the media that should not have been leaked. So, yeah, I mean, people are still saying anything's possible. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for being here. Um, it's just interesting how adamant they are that she would not wander off and that somebody took her. So, like, why are they so adamant about that? Um, and so the Jose situation, he cheats on Candace. I'm curious with who. Like, I want this person, I know it's like nosy of me, but I want this person to come out and be like, yeah, Don cheated on Candace with me. I'm that person. Because he's mentioned, we've talked about the infidelity between the two. And people might say, how is this relevant? Well, it could be. I mean, these are just dynamics behind closed doors around summer. We don't know. Let's say that her parents were arguing and she didn't want to hear it and ran away because she was just upset. I'm just saying, if we're going to say anything's possible, um, sometimes home life makes people run away. Not sure, just saying. But so, yeah, Freudian slip wants to know if it could have been with Allie. I'm not sure. He said that he regretted it and he only messed around on her once. And I just want to know, like, how did she find out? Who was it? If he only goes to work and home, who is this person? Um, so he went to Utah and she was on the phone with him and said that some guy was with her and it was Jose. But, obviously she didn't give up the information that he's not interested in her. He's gay, allegedly. Thank you, Amanda. And, he thinks that she's cheating because there's a man in the house. So then Don goes on to say that he was going 110 miles an hour. He was going 110 miles an hour, and I have the ticket to prove it. And said that the cop was really nice to him and that he explained to the cop what was going on. And the cop said, well, you got to make sure you get there in one piece or alive. You know what I mean? So he um, admits to going 110 miles an hour. And like, maybe I'm just lame, but 110 miles an hour, that's pretty fast for one. For two, think about how many tragic accidents happen with cars. You know, Don clearly didn't give a crap. He's driving 110 miles an hour. Um, so he's somebody who cheats. He's somebody who, breaks traffic laws like speed like that, and then everything else we ended up hearing. So I'm just kind of like raising my eyebrow. So he gets there, realizes that, like, I guess they were fine at first with Jose, and then they drank and got in this altercation. All I know is he was not happy that the grandmother got him to go to jail that night or whatever. But in that police report, it stated that Candace and the grandmother were afraid of him and that they were concerned for their lives of the children. So if we're just going to go by people on a whiteboard of an investigation, this police report is not even a year old. And the other people in the household are saying that they're afraid for the children's lives. And then less than a year later, one of the children go missing. Like, I'm sorry, but that is just some super bad luck. You know what I mean? If there's no foul play, that is just complete bad luck. Like, I'm sorry, but that looks terrible. Um, the other thing that was kind of on my mind is, so help me out. They're saying that the boys were taken because Don went off on a binge drinking and it was not a safe environment. And then I also heard that he was saying that there were people on the property too, so it just wasn't safe. Like people are just being nosy and stuff. So if is it true that they were taken because he was drinking? And if that's true, then why isn't he like going to like AA meetings or um, rehab? Like I know there's there are avenues and stuff that people can do. You know what I mean? He also claimed that he's not even drinking beer, and um, I didn't know what to think of that because I thought he had just admitted a week ago that things were not good and he was on a drinking binge. So I don't know. He contradicts himself all the time. So the thing is, if he's not doing anything to better the situation so the boys can come back, like example, if it's because of his drinking, how is he proving and showing to the courts that he's changing his ways and that the kids are going to be safe to come back? You know what I mean? Like, okay, so if Summer was alive and could come back tomorrow, hypothetically speaking, she wouldn't even be allowed in the house in a way because CPS took the kids. So, like, how is he making it an environment where Summer can return and be at home with them? I don't know if I'm making sense. Yeah, I agree, Donna. They both need to get right. If they're the other red flag in the whole house is this seems to be a sort of a substance issue. They've gone back and forth about drinking and issues with drinking, and then they've said things like, "Oh, we call it a bar, but we don't really call it a bar. I don't know why we call it a bar because we don't really drink that much." So it's just like little things that they throw out there. And then he said, "I don't drink beer. If I drink beer, I'm going to want to do all that other stuff." Like I think he's referring to like cocaine or something. I'm not sure, but I'm just like very confused. It seems like there might be substance issues in the household. If that was the reason that the kids were taken away, what's being done to show that they're getting that under control and that it's a safe place for Summer to come home to. Yeah, Sammy, a lot of people don't think that that's why the boys were taken. And of course, they can't go into details of that. Okay, I understand that it's not like our personal business to judge the parents, but this is true crime. So unfortunately, we kind of do this. Like we're not judgy people, and that's what I made clear in my last live with my girlfriends that were on with me. We are all very much researchers, web sleuths, investigators. We're not judgy people. We went in a conversation in the beginning to say that everyone's innocent until proven guilty. However, you know you just have to raise your eyebrow to a certain things like a record and admission of SA against a 5-year-old in the year past. See, that's the thing is I don't think that we're ruining their lives. I think that them speaking out as much as they are is kind of ruining, they're digging their own grave. Unfortunately, I think that Q is my favorite uncle. You're gonna have to go because you're not understanding that this is an open forum with opinions, like Shannon has explained, and that we are um, just going through the facts. Stop judging this family. Okay. Again, this is an open investigation. We're just going through what we know and what the facts are. If there's judgment, then, shame on me. This is true crime. If somebody has an admission that their children were taken because of their substance abuse problems, then to get them back, you should probably get those problems under control. And that's right. I agree that past does not matter, but and a lot of times it can matter, especially in investigations. This is just what they would do, and this is what they would do to everybody. So I have noticed when I moderate for other channels on this case that there are super lot of trolls. I think this might be their first true crime case that they're following because they seem to have a problem with the way that we do things in the true crime community. We're just discussing the timeline, the statements of the parents. I'm just repeating what the parents are saying and what has happened in their record that is public information that anybody can look up. So it should motivate people to don't speed, don't do things that are going to get you a record that people could raise their eyebrow to if something happened around you that was a crime, you know? And yeah, I agree, Lily. October is hardly the past. I mean, that's not even a year away. But moving right along. So, as far as the red flags about the dogs, that to me was really, I think that that almost solidified my feelings about things because we did not hear at all about the dogs being out as far as gone, the way that Don described it. Did everybody hear what he had said about the dogs? I kind of clipped it in my smaller video um, about last night. But no, it was he said that the dogs like to leave the property. Sometimes they go places that they don't even know where they go to. How does that happen? Um, I don't understand that. I mean, I could play the audio for that just because it was just so, what are you talking about? How does that happen? Um, Let me see if I can play that actually, just because it's just like for him to try to say that the dogs all were gone that day. No, I thought that that was just laughable in a way because it's like there's no way that all those dogs up and left. And it was weird that he had said that because it was after everybody was kind of saying like I don't think she was abducted because the dogs would have attacked or the dogs would have said an alert or something. So it was just interesting that now talking to Chris, over a month later, now all of a sudden he's saying that they leave at times, and on that day they were actually gone. And just like Catherine has said, how would he know that if he was at work all day? And the first thing he did was go to the shed. So, you know, let me find this audio real quick. I'm going to mute it. Okay, I found the audio. Let me know if you guys can hear it. And I just wanted to say I agree, CDT. I don't think a bear took her either. But let me play this about the dogs, and I'm curious what you guys think. So they get really hear something with their dogs were little stickless damn things, and they also won't go away for days. Maybe the dogs got. What's your thought on why the dogs weren't there
they've disappeared for days, and they'll come dragging back all tired, beat up, and hungry, and stuff like that. Yeah. We don't know where they go.
Could you guys hear that? Basically, he's just saying, like, sometimes they run off and we just don't know where they go. So he's claiming that that day that that's where they had gone. They weren't around the property, so they couldn't have alerted and they couldn't have scared somebody off because sometimes they go away, and on that day they were going away. So I mean, that is the first time we all heard the claim that the dogs run off and that that's where they were. And like somebody else said, didn't Candace say that they had just had puppies? So how often do mother dogs up and leave puppies? Or how often would puppies go with the whole pack and leave for the day? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Dogs stay where they are fed. And yes, I agree. Don is his own worst enemy. Um, it is what it is. He's saying all this stuff, and now we have stuff to kind of cross examine him on. I mean, we're not the jury, obviously. But he's just giving, just like in the Scott Peterson trial, his interview with Barbara Walters, that interview was used against him in the trial. He lied and they used it against him. Now, we don't have Don going on news or Barbara Walters, but we have him going on YouTube's. So now we're looking at him with a magnifying glass. So yeah, loose lips sink ships. So the dog thing was very, very alarming to me. That I was just like, no, there's no way that they're going to try and say that the dogs run off and on that day that that's what happened. No, not happening. Um, Let me just look through my notes. Somebody said that he only recently put flyers up. Is that true? So the other thing is the little emotion and stuff like that. Like, I don't want to rip people too much apart for body language and stuff because we've seen in other situations where their body language has looked suspicious and they actually turned out to be innocent. So I'm not really going to go into much of his body language. I have seen, I'm sure everyone else has seen the picture of him being compared to Chris Watts. And Chris has his arms crossed and Don's got his arms crossed. I don't think that that's fair. As far as getting that image out there is very harmful if he's innocent. That paints a really bad picture, but it was interesting to look at. Hi, Monica. Thanks for being here. Yeah, that was an interesting picture. I don't know if anybody in chat has seen it, but it has been circulating. Just comparing Don's body language to Chris Watts. But somebody was saying that they didn't feel like the parents seemed to be searching much and that it was weird they just started handing out flyers. Um, the abuse that Don admitted to, I think that that looks bad, obviously. A lot of people are trying to defend it. I don't think, even though they were both kids, you know, a 12-year-old knows better. A 12-year-old knows you shouldn't be doing that with a 5 or 4-year-old. The 4-year-old is much less of a person that can speak for themselves. And, if a 12-year-old boy, you think about when you're 5, if anybody can, 12 seems so much older than you, you know, it's just sad. If it's true, which he seems to have admitted to. Um, So I'm just trying to think of what else I wanted to kind of work out with you guys and talk about. I've seen in some of the early media reports, it said that the last place that she was seen was outside of the home. And I'm assuming that maybe they're meaning outside of the home, um, when Candace and the grandmother saw her and they were planting flowers. I'm just confused by that statement, um, because then it said that the boys saw her go to the basement. Oh, she's down in the basement playing with her toys. So, how is the last place that anybody saw her in the house? And not only that, Candace says that she walked her to the house. When they were planting flowers, they said, oh, Summer allegedly said, I want to go to the house now, Mom. Want to play with my toys or whatever. And Candace says, I walked her up here and saw her go in there. And the boys were still in the kitchen watching TV. And then when I went in there later, because she had told her mom that she was going to go back and see what the boys were or what the kids were up to, the boys said, oh, she went down to the basement. So then why am I seeing in these like early media sources, it says straight up that the last place she was seen was outside of the house? Like, are they just saying that because the mother saw her outside the house when they were planting flowers? Because then it's just like she saw her go in the house. So I'm just confused by that. I can link that media source or I'll point it out in a future video. But I'm just really confused by that. And it was a statement by TBI as well, very early on. I want to say maybe even the day it happened, the news source. So everyone's saying good comment to Cindy. I just want to take a minute and read it. Candace said the boys were locked in the house while swimming. So that means the basement door had to have been locked since Summer just got home. If this is true, yeah. That's the other thing I noticed. She did say that. She said they were locked in. Nobody can get in, nobody can get out. Then they go down in the basement and she's showing the room where they sleep. And she says, I can't remember if this door was locked or not. Like, what? What do you mean? I thought you just said upstairs. I mean, could it have been unlocked by the time they were getting home, doing groceries, all that? But then they had the same claim that Summer doesn't go outside and run around randomly. So if the door locks from the inside, then who unlocked it? Did you guys notice the part when Don was talking about when he got to the scene and the cops were there? He asked the cops if he could go um, and question the drug dealers that he knows. What? Did you guys hear that? Oh, thank you for clarifying that, Truth Seeker. And I wanted to say hi to Tiger Girl. I saw her a while ago and I forgot to say hi. Bobby Pin, hello. So, um, Don said that he asked, let me go talk to the drug dealers and, let me ask them. And that they said reluctantly, yes, like, fine, go ask them. What? This is not looking good. So he's close enough to drug dealers that he wants to ask them what they know. Like, why would he even feel comfortable rubbing elbows with those people? And then did you hear when he was talking about them, he mentioned somebody by name and then said, well, I don't want to get anyone in trouble. But he was referring to like if they're suspicious or not. And Chris said, well, how many drug dealers do you know take children? And he's like, none that I've ever heard of, or something like that. And it's like, yeah, I'm thinking in my head, like that doesn't really correlate. You know, just because you're a drug dealer doesn't necessarily mean you're going to want to abduct a child or hold a child or whatever with a child. I mean, I didn't understand that. Why does he know drug dealers well enough to go to their house and wanna question them? Didn't make any sense. It was almost alarming, like, why are you so comfortable with these people? But then again, he also admitted that they have a drug corridor at the bottom of their property that he just obviously isn't concerned with because it's still up and it's just a junky shed. So he does anybody believe Don when he said that when they drug tested them, his blood test came back clean? I'm curious because that was sort of surprising to me. Hi, Valerie. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I do agree about it being unlikely. Electric said the percentage of someone sneaking into the property with 20 dogs on it and Grandma and Candace and Don and 3 boys. Right, I mean, it's just, like, unlikely, like, how did that happen? And then, did you notice that Don even said, "If they're wearing camo, they can sneak right up, no one ever see them." What? Okay, so now we're picturing this person wearing camouflage coming up on the property? Come on, this is just getting I don't know. And here's the thing, what if he's just desperately trying to find answers and he's innocent, you know? I don't know, but at the same time, my gut and everything that's what this live is about, the red flags. There's a lot of red flags. Oh yeah, Valerie, I went live just kind of randomly because I was just my head's just been spinning about the interview with Don with Chris last night. So I just kind of randomly went live so I could kind of brainstorm with you guys. Um, so yeah, thanks for being here. Um, yeah, it just was a little concerning about Don wanting to go talk to the drug dealers. I'm trying to think what else was in that interview that I was just like, what? He kind of complains about them turning their house upside down looking for her 6 or 7 times. He's like mad about it. And I'm like, okay. Okay, yeah, that's a good point. If he had drugs in his system, they would have taken the kids right then. Yeah, for sure. When did they drug test them though? That's what I want to know. Probably right away. But that's the thing is like we can't underestimate what alcohol can do. You know, that's not going to come up on a drug test. Did an accident happen? You know, did something happen and there was an alcohol involved? Both parents seem to like booze, or they did in the past few weeks, I mean, because it's just been mentioned over and over. So he said that he always had a gut feeling that she was going to go missing. Did anyone hear that? I actually have that audio too. I can play it. Hold on. Let me just mute so I can get it at the right
I was trying to move my family to Utah. I've always knew that something was going to happen to Summer. Something in my gut has always told me, and I've always told Candace, watch her closely. That's my baby. Do not let nothing happen to her. I told her that all the time. What brought you to that thought? I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it. I didn't know what it was, or I just always had this feeling that something was going to happen to her. I didn't know if she was just going to get accidentally run over. I didn't know what it was. Did you think she would be kidnapped? Never. Never like that. Okay. No. I just knew it was something. I just had this intense love for her. I think she knew something too. I think something was, I don't know if you believe in guardian angels or what, but there's something. There's something. So you get back. So tell me.
So, yeah, LKS, that's a really weird for him, or weird thing for him to say. I agree. Because what was interesting was he says, accidentally get run over. Like, is he secretly, or, Freudian slip? Is he expressing what actually happened? Did something, it wasn't an accident, but they keep. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, StreamYard kicked me out. Can you guys hear me now? Okay, Valerie, CDT, you guys can hear me. Yes, I'm back. Okay, sorry. Yeah, no, StreamYard. I swear. All right, so what was I saying? What was I saying? Let me just gather my thoughts for a second while I share the screen. All right, so let me look at my notes. This might help. Okay, so yeah, I screenshotted something from a Facebook group, which I'm telling you, if you guys are into true crime, join Facebook groups
they're always coming out. There's just so many people who look into things and are just really observant. It's just really helpful to kind of work through cases. But somebody said, Donald said to Chris he would pose as a molester to help catch the perps. I could tell Chris thought that was a red flag and was startled by his comment. And then it says, especially with Donald's history with molesting, allegedly. So I did not get the minute mark for that part, but I did hear from other people say that they heard that too. So did you guys hear Don say that he would be happy to pose as a, somebody, child molester or whatever? That's weird that he would have offered that, if that's true. Okay, yep, everyone's saying they heard it. What the heck? Oh, yeah. Oh, no, Karen, don't worry about being late. No worries. Thanks for being here. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I need to find the minute mark, Lisa, because I didn't hear it, but I need to hear it. And I believe you all. And on the, like I said, the Facebook group, they were all pretty much saying, yeah, it was true. Really, Amby. Wow. Yeah, it's just like, that's the thing is like, I don't even have to come on here and bash whatever. Whatever they're saying is not looking good. Okay. It's just not. Trying to read what else. Oh yeah, so yeah, people were just wondering, like him saying that he always had the feeling. Um, and then people saying, is it possible that she was ran over accidentally? Um, we don't have the truck. Grandma has the truck out of state. So, but it was looked at, right? No, it's okay, Mrs. Kurt Cobain. Thanks for being here. We're just kind of working through some red flags and talking about, the case and interviews. Um, yeah, and then people were saying when he was talking about the oldest boy said something about it was his fault, like he was putting the blame on himself, and Don had to assure his son that it wasn't his fault. So people are saying like, did an accident happen? And that's why the oldest boy was saying that he was sorry or it was all his fault. That was just kind of weird that he threw that in there. What do you guys think? Yeah, Catherine, I'd like to know like how well it was looked at. I'm assuming it was looked at pretty well. How long was she home before okay, so Summer disappeared on the 15th of June. When did grandmother leave? Like, was it still June? Was it July? Was it mid-July? Like, I need to know that because I don't have that written down at all. And yeah, the things that Don is saying is so bizarre. I mean, I was just shaking my head. I'm like, I can only imagine what Chris was thinking. Um, yeah. And apparently they have private investigators working for them for pro bono for free. Not sure if they're legit or what, but I think Plunder has a video about it. I'm not sure. I think she just found what we all found on Facebook, and it's like privately ran um, PI firm, but it doesn't look like, I don't know. It looked weird. That's all I'm going to say. And you guys leave a comment down below if you guys look into it too and think it's interesting or whatever.
Um, Maybe something happened with the dirt bike, I was thinking, with the boys, but who knows? Yeah, Don does tell a lot of half truths. Um, oh, he was talking about doing drug runs to Mexico. I'm like, what? And he said, "Oh, it's hard to be a dope runner when you're a doper or something like that." And I was just like, "Oh, geez." And then he did emphasize that he did struggle. He's like, "I'm not gonna lie, my struggle with cocaine, it was a real one," or something like that. Like emphasized, his struggle with uh, cocaine. It was crippling at that point in his life. Which, you know, if that's in the past, then I'm happy for him. So I don't know. I pretty much don't really have anything else to say. I went through a lot of the red flags. I made that video with, the three red flags in it. There are other red flags, like about the essay with the half sister and stuff. Um, I don't know. I'm not going to get into that because people just get too upset, and I'm not about to go at it with people about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate and who was at fault. But I will say it was a little alarming when that was brought up and Don said that she's to blame too, or she's not as innocent, or something along the lines of um, she wasn't as innocent or not as innocent as she's claiming to be, or something like that. I was just like, really? No, not looking good. Not looking good at all. I'm just reading chat. Oh, yeah, he did blame her. Hello, thanks for joining. We had a lot more discussion in the beginning of this stream. It disappears for a little bit, but I come back. Stops through. They're really good on the case as well. Um, yeah, and that's the thing. Sally, the seller girl, said, "I do have a theory, but I very well could be wrong. And when I say it, I feel bad because what if I'm wrong? I'd hate to accuse anyone of something that they are innocent of, but I just can't shake it." Yeah, that's sort of how I feel, which is why I had to come on here and kind of talk to you guys because I'm like trying to work out through these things. Are these just things that I found alarming, or are there other people who think that it was kind of a red flag, the certain things that were brought up and discussed? But I think that unless you guys had any questions or anything, pretty much um, the phone's data, it does not matter that somebody deleted past 3:30. Like when they claimed that when they got their phone back, it didn't have anything from past 3:30 on. It does not matter because FBI has whatever they need. So I'm not concerned too much as far as deletion of phone stuff because I know that they can pull things back and they have the technology. So hopefully that'll be shown. Everything about this case is so alarming and just crazy what's been said and done. Yeah, I agree. Honey hush, law enforcement deleted it. Deleted the stuff on the phone. Oh, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I that's
And that's the thing, and that's why this case has kind of grabbed me because I just want to know the truth too, and it's been dragged out too long. Like I um, had been watching it through CDT and Crazy Crime Chick and Unmasked channels, but I was working on other things, and then it just kept. I kept asking for updates, and there were no updates, and I'm like seeing this stuff with everything and it's just not making sense, and now it's just everyone wants answers now. That's why everyone's kind of obsessed in a way. So let me just peek through my notes one more time. Anything that stood out, again, I kind of share on my channel, like in little videos or 5-minute ones or whatever, but I had too much to kind of lay out. So um yeah, I have. They've kind of changed the times around. Can you guys hear me at this moment? I was kind of not talking for a minute and just kind of reading. So they have that the times for when Summer was unattended, it's gone from 10 minutes. They've said 2 minutes at times. And then another time they've said 2 minutes and then 5 minutes. So we just need to figure out like how long was it as far as Candace with grandma fixing the knee brace. It's just it's gone too far as of a window. Is it 2 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? That's significant. If you're trying to say that somebody was in the basement or whatever, and how did they get in there? That's the other thing is people are saying was somebody hiding in the basement. How did they get in there? The door locks from the inside, and Candace said that the boys were locked in. And I don't know. There was something that Don said about somebody, like implicating them. He's like, but they have an alibi. But I still think that they would want revenge on me or something, saying pretty much that they would still want revenge on him. But then in the same breath, saying that they looked into him and they had an alibi. Okay, so you got to mark that off your list and move on. Because if they have an alibi, you know, they've already looked into it. He's just like bringing up stuff that I'm just like, why? In the same breath, he brings up random people or random scenarios of possibilities. But in the same breath, he's also proclaiming that he'll see her in the resurrection. So either he's let go and getting, he's trying to grasp at the reality that she might not come back, or he still thinks she's out there and he's trying to explain what happened. It's just weird. All right, but I think that's pretty much all I had to say. So I'm sure we'll be doing this again very soon. Okay, yeah, he was referring to the guy that he worked with, the disgruntled coworker who he fired. Yeah, he was trying. You're right, it was him. And then he said, "Oh, um, he had an alibi." Okay, then why did we just spend all this time? And he was going on and on about all this drama with them. Okay, he has an alibi. Next. Yeah, he was over talking. I agree. All right. Well, I think that's it, guys. We're going to be doing another one of these very soon. So
I'll see you all soon, and just hope, we get some answers, and I just hope that she's found and brought home. So I guess I'll just talk to you guys later. Bye. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you soon.